Afternoon, colleagues, and thanks once again for heeding the call and responding to our invite. We have invited you here to come and brief you on the outcomes of our National Working Committee. I'm going to ask the Secretary General to come and address yourselves so that we can deal with some of the misplaced myths that were out there, because if we take time to speak, sometimes people end up believing in fake news. So over to you, Secretary General.
Well, good afternoon, and let me take this opportunity just to read a statement of the National Working Committee held on the 12th of March this year. The African National Congress held an ordinary meeting of the National Working Committee on Monday, the 12th of March, 2018. The NWC, by now you know, is the constitutional structure of the ANC, mandated with the day-to-day running of the organization and the implementation of the resolution of the National Executive Committee. And NWC received and considered a number of reports on the affairs of the organization, including on specific issues of national interest. The NWC engaged extensively with an ANC election subcommittee report, which provided a comprehensive analysis on the voter registration weekend. And on voter registration weekend, the ANC embarked on an intense voter registration drive through visits to various communities throughout South Africa, urging first-time voters, primarily youth, to register, and for those who have registered to check and confirm their details. And the outcomes of the open voter registration weekend is proof that South Africans has entered an era of hope and renewal. And the ANC election machinery was led in action by the national officials, with President Ramaphosa kicking off the mobilization program with a health walk from Regina Mundi Church in Soweto, followed by door-to-door visit and blitzes. Now, the NWC commends thousands of ANC volunteers, including alliance partners and party agents, and all South Africans who took to the streets to mobilize and ensure that eligible South Africans are registered to vote. Registration took place in conditions that were largely peaceful, orderly, and conducive to free exercise of fundamental political rights. The ANC further calls on all eligible South Africans who have not registered yet or checked their details during the open voter registration week to continue visiting IEC offices within their reach, mostly located within municipal offices, including using the SMS lines and the toll-free number provided by the IEC to verify their details. So South Africans can go to IEC offices and continue registering. The NWC noted that in a number of areas, voters were prevented from accessing voting stations due to some disruptive protest actions. And the ANC calls upon all South Africans to exercise their fundamental right to protest peacefully and unarmed, with due regard to the rights of their fellow South Africans. The NWC also learned with shock of the killing of Comrade Mkhize, an ANC voter district coordinator in eThekwini, Ward 105, and 2 members of the community by unknown assailants. The ANC condemns this horrendous and murderous act and call on SABC to act swiftly in bringing those responsible to book. And the NWC calls upon law enforcement agencies to ensure that citizens are able to exercise their rights without fear, and call upon all levels of government to work with affected communities urgently to resolve any service delivery concerns they have. And in terms of our commitment to the realization of a conference resolution, the ANC remains committed to the realization of conference resolution to further the agenda of transformation and development in our society. The ANC will therefore continue to canvass across all sections of society a broader and fair understanding on our responsible efforts to advance for the expropriation of land without compensation, and the advancement of all resolutions of the 54th National Conference will be undertaken working together with all stakeholders in our society, and primarily our own communities and masses of our people. The NWC also noted the report by the Ndebele Commission on the outcomes of the Eastern Cape 8th Provincial Elective Conference, and the report will therefore be placed before the NEC for decision making. The NWC noted with great concern the recent outbreak of Listeriosis. We are especially disturbed by the high number of fatalities, with almost 180 deaths reported to date. This has been recorded as the largest outbreak in history and must be treated with the agency and seriousness it deserves. And we urge all citizens to remain vigilant and ensure that they follow the guidelines issued by health authorities to ensure food safety, so that we may arrest this scourge and prevent further exposure to the risk of ingesting contaminated food products. We further call on health authorities to intensify their efforts towards focused awareness programs and adopt more preventative approaches in dealing with this disease. And on VBS Mutual Bank, the NWC noted the placement of VBS Mutual Bank under the curatorship, and that such efforts should be undertaken with a view of resuscitating and assisting the only black-owned VBS to function optimally, with the requisite regulations as a going concern with sufficient liquidity for self-sustainability. Similarly, the Secretary General honored a request of a meeting by the VBS delegation on Tuesday, the 13th of March 2017, yesterday, and such engagements will be ongoing with a view of finding long-lasting solutions and further resolve the ongoing impasse consistent with the ANC overriding commitment to fully transform the financial service sector as per the resolution of the 54th National Conference. And I'm sure we come to the last issue in terms of the appointment of premiers, and the NEC noted and resolved on the nominations of premiers-elect for the provinces of the Free State and Mpumalanga. And that's why we are parading before you the two comrades, Comrade Sisi Mantombela, who will be the premier-elect until confirmed by the legislature of the Free State, and Comrade Refilo Mtsweni, who will be premier of Mpumalanga once the legislature come and elect these two comrades as premiers of these two respective provinces. We want to take this opportunity to congratulate the two comrades. And in particular, the NWC believe that the two women nominated as premiers-elect will take forward the agenda of radical socio-economic transformation and drive the issue of gender equality in our society. The nomination of these two premier-elect demonstrates that the ANC is a true non-sexist organization and continue to recognize the existing leadership capacity of our women within our organization and in society. Their profiles obviously will be circulated on our digital platforms for ease of reference. So, Memantombela, Refilwe, we congratulate you and all the best in your newly positions once you are elected premiers by your respective legislatures. That is our statement for the day. Thank you.
No, thanks, and thanks for that round of applause. You can do it again. There's no... I'm sure even women journalists can do that. Mathazi, it's also, I mean, it's very important. I mean, it happens just a few days after International Women's Day. I mean, this is an achievement. Just last week we were here on a dialogue of International Women's Day. So the ANC is responding timely to the plight of women. We are now going to open the floor for questions. The standard applies. You tell us your name and the media outlet you represent. Okay. One. Atlatsi. Yes, because we have clarified even those other issues. So there's no challenge. Okay. Looks like we've got two hands. Maduma? No. Okay.
Thank you. Clement Manyatela from Eyewitness News. SG, I just wanted to find out how far the ANC is with, I remember when the resolution on expropriation of land without compensation at the conference, Mr. Enoch Kotongwana says there would be a workshop with experts on how this would be implemented. And I just want to understand if the party has held those workshops yet or if that's still yet to come. I want to ask if also you'll be entertaining calls from the stalwarts for a consultative conference before next year's elections. This is the conference that they asked for last year, but they couldn't be part of. And they held without the ANC because the ANC didn't agree that it must be before the policy conference. And just lastly, Ms. Sisintombela, congratulations. I wanted to, I don't know if we can put up questions to them, but I wanted to ask about the report on the Free Area Farm. The public protector said the Premier needs to act, and I wanted to know if you will be acting as soon as possible on that report. Thank you.
Okay, Maduma, because it's closer to the mic, so.
All right. Just on the, to follow up on the issue of land, can the SG just clarify us on the ANC's position? Because we're under the impression that there was a resolution taken to say that the Nkonyama Trust, something must be done on that, but there have been conflicting messages with particularly some of the KZN leaders saying that they would not allow the king to be undermined. So if you can just clarify that one. And then on the Eastern Cape, there were reports that the Spoon Ndebele report is also recommending that the PEC be disbanded. Can you confirm if that is true or not?
Thank you very much. Just to continue on the Free State, on the Eastern Cape, the 11 that are challenging the provincial elective conference of last year have the 11 that were challenging the elective conference have now gone to ask the Constitutional Court to hear their matter directly and skipping the High Court in the province and also the Supreme Court calling for urgency. on the matter. What is the ANC's reaction to the fact that they've taken it to the Constitutional Court while there is an NEC process that is underway? And then my second question, SG, I feel like a broken record a bit because I ask it all the time. What has been the decision taken given the concerns of the people of the Free State around the PTT? And some people have said that perhaps it might be a good idea for elections, provincial elections, not to happen now and rather next year. But I know the last time we were here, you said that there are timelines. It should be in the next coming months that all of the elective processes are done in the different provinces.
Okay, yeah, we can take you. Then that's the last one, and then we close.
I see my first question.
Okay, you also want to come after him, and then we close. Today we are not, okay. We take one round today, no pinda.
Okay, my name is Eric Naki from The Citizen. I see my first question has been asked about the Free State PTT, because I was going to ask how far are you in addressing that issue, because there was this group that came here to object on that matter. So let me ask the second question. I believe there was an objection in Mpumalanga regarding the appointment of Madam Mtsweni as acting premier by the Deputy President. The DA objected to that. I wonder how this tallies with what happened in Mpumalanga, because there is still a challenge that the DA wants to put legally to challenge her appointment.
Yes?
Natasha from the Business Day. SG, the first question is around your comments on the implementation of policy.
You can go on.
Can I go on?
Yes.
I wanted to check whether the ANC can confirm that indeed the finance minister had halted the motion in Parliament on the Reserve Bank. I also wanted to check whether that motion is going to be retabled. And the second question is, in the past, the ANC would meet with ratings agencies when they came to the country. This hasn't happened for the last year or so. Can you tell us whether the ANC this time around did meet with Moody's during their visit? Thank you.
They were asking about meeting with rating agencies. Did we meet the rating agencies? They also asked if we've already clarified. Okay, the retabling of the SARB, we've clarified that one. It's there in the ANC statement. So the position that has been conveyed stays as is, which meant that we'll retable it and make sure that it is implemented in accordance with our conference resolution. By the way, we'll also make sure that our resolutions are available online within this week. So the layout and polishing is almost complete.
Okay. Sipa Magana from the Sunday Times. My question is to the SG. It's just an additional question to the Eastern Cape PEC. There have been complaints there in that province that there are members that serve in the PEC that were coming from COPE. And there are ANC members in ANC regions there that are complaining that they are not eligible to serve in that structure because their unbroken service has not lapsed in terms of the years of unbroken service that they can serve in the PEC. Can the SG comment on that?
Okay. I take it that concludes our questions for today. Oh, okay. Last question.
My name is Moses Moyo, SG from the Inner City Gazette. SG, I'll ask you to educate me in Mpumalanga. When David Mabuza was elected into the NEC, automatically the deputy chairperson in the province becomes the acting provincial chair. Does the appointment of Mayor Refilwe not create the two centers of power?
Is it Mayor or Mary Filwe?
Mary Filwe.
Me. Oh, okay. No, I wanted to make sure. I thought you were saying Mayor. Okay. Are you okay? So the last one is just really on 2 centers of power. Ne? Yeah. Okay, SG. We are all done with our questions. The SG is going to respond and make sure that all of you leave here having been clarified. Secretary General.
I'm sure we can allow the Premier-elect just to greet you before we close. Let me start with the issue of the land question, expropriation of land without compensation. The NWC has set up a task team of the leadership of the ANC together with experts, as you say, to prepare for a workshop so that when we prepare for a workshop, we also have this summit with all stakeholders so that everybody in South Africa understand that we have said we'll take everybody on board, including our traditional leadership, whether it's Ngonyama Trust or Kings, all over traditional leadership, wherever they are, to engage them in understanding the position of the ANC so that we implement this resolution, as we have said, with responsibility and take into account that we want to make sure that there is food production and productivity in terms of agriculture, and we use the land effectively. So there is a team of experts which has been proposed to the National Executive Committee. We should be meeting next week, and immediately thereafter I think we will have this workshop and engaging all sectors of our communities, South African society. So Ngonyama Trust will be part of stakeholders to be engaged and consulted. In terms of our stalwarts and veterans, I think the President and the Deputy President has given the report to the NWC that the veterans and stalwarts 101 are now on board. They have agreed that they are now, as members of the ANC, going to be integrated and work together with the movement in moving forward. So we are better because they are integrated within the structures of the ANC. Themselves as individuals, they are members of the ANC and they will participate throughout the ANC structures at various levels. And obviously some of them will be engaged at various levels, including national levels where we need their expertise to make sure that the ANC move forward. So that case is closed. They are now going to be integrated and work within the structures of the ANC. So there's no need for a consultative conference. In terms of the Zbundebele report, I think we are saying we have noted the report. Because of the internal processes of the ANC, the report must still serve before the National Executive Committee. And the Eastern Cape matter, in terms of the Constitutional Court, yes, we are aware of the Constitutional Court. People who have approached the Constitutional Court, we will be going to the Eastern Cape to engage members of the ANC, the leadership, various people, to say now that conference of the 54th National Conference has taken a decision. And it was also a decision of the court in the Eastern Cape that internal processes of the ANC must first be dealt with. And that's why when we appointed the Zbundebele report, it's part of that internal process. And I think everybody shall have to wait for that internal process and the report to be made publicly once the National Executive Committee has actually taken a position on it. For now, as I say, the NWC noted the report because that panel was set up by the National Executive Committee, and therefore the report must go to the National Executive Committee. And now that, in terms of the Constitution, the new Constitution adopted at the National Conference in Nasrec, We now have a National Dispute Resolution Committee. There is nowhere that people will not, because it's a constitutional structure now, set up by the constitution of the ANC. And therefore, the internal processes of the ANC will take its place, and I think we'll deal with this matter and conclude it. In terms of Mpumalanga, I think there was no confusion, there was no objection, there was just no understanding when Comrade Deputy President Mabuza had to resign. There was supposed to be a meeting of the executive committee in terms of section 131, sitting down and appointing the acting premier. So it was just a matter of processes. There was no any objection there. So formally now the acting premier is now going to be the premier. For now is the premier-elect until the legislature sits and confirm Comrade Refilwe. Because the ANC is in the majority, so the ANC, it will be with ease that the majority elects, and we will call upon all political parties to support a woman premier. And I'm sure Mpumalanga will do that. So within our structures in Mpumalanga, everything is well and good, united, and I think we are happy. With the Free State, indeed the PTT, or the Provincial Interim Committee, why we're calling it Provincial Interim Committees in terms of the Constitution, its period is three months or so. The PTT takes, in terms of the Constitution, 9 months. So we have said, yes, we have met the comrades, and we are expanding that PTT. We have listened to the requests. There were 2 groups here which came to National here to say, we think we must expand the Interim Committee. We have done so. I think we have included 6 extra people, some of our veterans, Bundate Musala, to expand, and the PTT and the NEC deployees dealt with that matter and came to the headquarters to make recommendations which the NWC adopted. So we are expanding the PTT. And I think we have also taken a decision to say those who were ill-disciplined, disrupted, swearing, they will face the National Disciplinary Committee in the province, so that we deal with ill-discipline and anarchy within the organization. We are going to start to be very serious about it. We no longer want factions, groupings. We have said Marumo Fatsi, so those who continue with all these activities in a very ill-disciplined and disruptive way, because I think the head office here, there were some disruptions here, windows were broken. We are charging, we're looking at that and charging some of those comrades. But we have listened to the request, because those who were leading the 2 teams conducted themselves in a very disciplined way. And it was a fair process, because that's what we have also done with KZN. So it's history now. I'm sure that the convener and the coordinator are here. And so the Free State matter is now closed. We are looking forward to working with comrades all over the province, and we'll also adopt the KZN approach. Whilst the interim committee is there, we will actually assist them outside that interim committee. There are many other comrades who are not in that structure. We will continue interacting politically with the challenges moving forward. So I'm sure I've responded to almost all questions, Comrade Pule. Is there any other thing?
Are you able to give us the names of the 6?
Well, we can put them on your, but I know, I can remember that Godfrey Msala, who was once, when the Free State was disbanded at some stage, I can't remember which years now, he was the convener. He's one of our stalwart veterans in the province. We have Mongi Mtwanambe, who used to be the chairperson of the Kharib district region. We have Comrade Joyce Mtembu, who some years ago was part of the PEC until she was not re-elected or so. She comes from Thabo Mofutshanyane region. The comrade said they want somebody from Kosatu and Sanko. So there is Zanele Sifuba, who comes from Kosatu. Kosatu was happy with her name. And the chairperson of Sanko in the province, Comrade Laki Pogo. And I think the Youth League wanted somebody called Tswalopeli. So those are the names we included. I'm sure I'm not missing any name, Comrade Peter. In case I've missed any name, we will still take them out, these names.
Sorry, SG, I'm wondering if there was any discussion on the EFF's call for somebody like Teresa Jonas to be put up as mayor for the Nelson Mandela Bay. Did the ANC NWC discuss this so that you can govern, so that they give you the votes to govern the city?
Well, we appreciate and we'll work with all political parties, especially those who are even closer to the African National Congress. But I'm sure the ANC has its own processes. And that's why we are engaged in the Eastern Cape, because the ANC must determine its own approach. We're not going to be told by any outside party how we must deal with issues. They can't determine us who must be our candidates. I'm sure the ANC will engage everybody, but the ANC has its own position.
Just a point of clarity.
Not
really a question.
Let's take it.
It's about the National Dispute Resolution Committee that you mentioned. I think it's important that you take us through who the people are, because that will determine in terms of their interventions as situations arise, are these people that can be trusted? Who are they? Who chairs it?
No, they can be trusted. Once the National Executive Committee adopts, and the National Executive Committee has adopted these committees, I'm sure we'll circulate the list of all committees and employees deployed to various provinces. So once the national leadership, the ANC, NEC, which is the highest decision-making body between the national conferences, approve those names, all structures of the ANC know for sure that we are a decision-making body in between national conferences. The Friede thing, I think the public protector gave the Free State 30 days, and that process, I'm sure, has been dealt with, or is being dealt with. I think the deadline was the 12th of March, and there has been progress. So Merman Dombela is not yet premier. I'm still premier until the legislature sits and appoints her as premier, and that will be as soon as possible. I'm ready to hand over power so that I focus on the ANC matters at head office. So thank you very much, and have a lovely day. You wanted them to say something? Yes, please. Come and greet. Mantombi, Comrade Rafile, come here. There are no questions. You just say anything. Mantombi.
Greetings to the leadership of the African National Congress, being led by the SG and all the media houses present here with us. Mine is just short to say that I want to express my heartfelt gratitude by the decision that has been taken by the African National Congress to afford me an opportunity to stand in on behalf of the people of Mpumalanga as the premier-elect. I'm promising that I'll do the best that I can to make sure that we steer the ship towards the right direction, taking into consideration that we need to take into cognizance the plight of our people and ensure that the challenges that they are faced with, we are addressing them as government. As one of our strategic stakeholders, being media, we want to make a call to yourself to say that please do come close to our space. Let us work with you as one of our strategic stakeholders, not only you. We are also calling upon the civil organization as one of our strategic stakeholders to be part of us as government so that we can run together and change the lives of our people moving forward. Thank you very much.
Let me thank the Secretary General of the ANC, Comrade Ace Magashule, and also thank the organization that has made sure that I become one of the Tumamina to lead a Free State. I know it's not going to be easy just because I'm a woman, and I know that it's going to be a little bit tough, but I promise that I will do my best. I know almost all women, we knew that there is a say that says, Basadi ba tshwara thipa ka bohaleng. And that's exactly what I'm going to try to do, ho tshwara thipa ka bohaleng. And all of us, we know that we are from the conference, and we have the mandate from the conference, nothing else. And we are going to just concentrate on the mandate that we had from the conference. The important one is to make sure that we unite African National Congress. So I'm going to try my level best to unite the Free Staters. Nyabonga, ke a leboha.
Okay. No, SG. ENCA. Some girl. Are you okay?
No, I'm intrigued because I've seen
the DP of the Youth League?
The Women's League, sorry.
Okay.
Do you have any desire to become the first woman premier of the Free State? Not premier, chairperson, ANC chairperson of the Free State?
That is the decision of the
branches of the ANC.
Yes. Okay. Thanks. Hey.
After a horrific accident, major questions were asked.
So step one, I asked myself, do I really want to die? And my answer to that was, I'm not sure. And then step two was, do I want my parents to bury me? And the answer to that was no.
Learning kept his brain in full action on how the brain works.
When I was in hospital, right, as I was saying, to catch up with my peers, I started to become obsessed with memory techniques and how the brain works and how we retain information.
Touching lives is his continuous mission.
I now work for a non-profit where we deal with access issues regarding kids with disabilities and persons with disability. We're busy working on beach access.
Being wheelchair-bound did not stop fun in his life.
I party in a wheelchair, I laugh in a wheelchair, I smile in a wheelchair.
For all your uplifting stories, catch Bupilong every Friday. SABCnews.com is your one-stop digital portal to all the news you need. With a website that is easy to use on mobile, SABC News prides itself in being the primary source of public service content across multiple platforms. Watch live streams of all the big news events on the SABC News YouTube channel, which is one of the most viewed South African YouTube channels globally. And catch up on the best of SABC television and radio news. Follow breaking news on